So obviously, House Speaker Paul Ryan is all in on this plan. Where is Governor Walker? Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about what he said about this plan?
Sure. Well, I think it's worth noting that for 7 years, Governor Scott Walker campaigned on, in 3 runs for governor, campaigned on repealing Obamacare and replacing it, and saying that, you know, politicians need to be more focused on the next generation than the next election. Right now, it's been very difficult to get Scott Walker to give us an opinion on the healthcare bill. He really has not told us whether he would vote for the bill or would support the bill in its current form. He's not given us a list of what exact changes he would like to see to the bill, and he has not told us, you know, what additional information he might need to be able to form an opinion and give us a clear statement on those questions. So, you know, he's made statements instead like the bill is a work in progress, and he expects to see changes to the bill and things like that.
We should point out that he was one of the Republican governors who refused to take the extra dollars from the federal government to expand Medicaid, but he did expand Medicaid under the program. But he's right. He's been making this statement repeatedly, but now that there's a bill out there, he's been reluctant to address it. And I think that's because obviously he's up for re-election next year, and there's a great deal of uncertainty with this bill, and the last thing you want heading into an election is uncertainty. Right now, we're not sure if the votes are there for this to pass both houses of Congress, and so he doesn't want to jump on board a bill that's not going to go anywhere, or to get on a bill that's going to force a number of people off the insurance rolls heading into his election. You might remember with the Johnson-Feingold race, everything was pretty close. But then the closer issue for the Johnson campaign was Obamacare. So health insurance and entitlements are big issues in elections.
I think Mayor Tom Barrett said yesterday that his silence was deafening. Are you surprised that he hasn't been more talkative about this?
No, he's not a member of the federal government. He doesn't have to vote on this. I'm sort of more interested in what Republicans in the state are doing about this. Duffy seems to be all in on it. Paul Ryan obviously is all in on it. It's his bill. It's his career up for grabs. And Ron Johnson appears to be sort of saying, well, we need to work on this bill. And Ron Johnson's made his entire career.
That's the reason he said he decided to run.
Yeah,
repealing Obamacare.
Repealing Obamacare. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the fact that it's not all unified, even among the federal folks in the Republican side in Wisconsin, should tell you something. Glenn Grothman expressed reservations. He doesn't think the bill goes far enough. He's, with the more conservative wing of the party, even more conservative than Paul Ryan. But let's face it, the CBO report that showed up to 24 million would be losing their health insurance over a period of years was devastating.
Did one critic say there's something for everyone to hate in this bill because it's gotten so much hatred from conservatives and liberals?
Yeah, and actually the first year you end up losing, was it 16 million people?
I think it's 14
million. But I mean, a substantial hit in the first year, which is probably more important than the 24 million because
24 million in 10 years, was that it?
Right, mm-hmm. So the immediate hit will be the major impact, and that's what a number of people are worried about.
Here's the difficulty for Republicans. When Democrats set up the Obamacare, they actually did a lot of things that helped older, lower-income, sicker voters who live in rural areas, voters who were not necessarily their voters. And ironically, Republicans are now set to do something similar by putting forward a healthcare bill that does a lot for young people, people in their early 20s who, might not be sick and might have, relatively decent jobs. But, a lot of the people that helped Donald Trump get into the White House, including in Wisconsin, older voters living in rural areas, have a lot to lose under this healthcare bill. So that's one of sort of the interesting ironies, both of Obamacare and of Trump care or Ryan care, whatever you'd like to call it.
West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who Dan, said probably the most perceptive thing. You know, the voters in his state and who are on Obamacare, they don't know who gave them Obamacare, but they're going to know who took it away. So it's very dangerous politics now in trying to unravel Obamacare.
But the one thing is, nobody should be surprised about this. Paul Ryan's been talking about a plan like this for how long?
He was waving it around during the campaign, waving around.
Everyone was talking about Trump, and nobody was apparently reading the plan. So.